How much time do you guys spend every week or weekend doing your lawn? It's absolutely exhausting, and to be honest, I'm kind of tired of it. This little orange and black robot here is the Worx Landroid Vision Cloud 4-wheel drive, and it's been doing my lawn here in Phoenix, Arizona for the last few days, and I have to tell you guys, I haven't been out here in the Phoenix heat. It's absolutely phenomenal to have a bot doing your lawn for you. What's up YouTube, Jeff back again today, another very exciting tech video for you guys, and today we're reviewing Worx Landroid Vision Cloud 4-wheel drive. And the robotic mower space is getting pretty crowded these days. You've got the EcoVax Goat, you've got Mammotion, you've got the Segway Navimo. So I kept asking Worx what makes their mower different, and it kept coming back to two things, the Vision AI and the RTK Cloud. And today, we're gonna dive into both of those things and also review everything that this mower has to offer and see if it's worth it. First, a quick crash course on how most robotic mowers function, and I promise this is gonna be interesting, and it's also very important for the review itself. Most robot mowers navigate one of two ways, buried boundary wires or RTK GPS. That's real-time kinematic, which gives centimeter level cutting accuracy. The catch with traditional RTKs, you need a physical antenna mounted somewhere on your property with a clear view of the sky. That can take hours, and Worx decided to do things differently to make things a lot easier. They built their own commercial grade RTK network, the RTK Cloud, and there's no antenna for you to install. The mower pulls position corrections wirelessly from the cloud, lifetime subscription with no fees. Now let's talk about the AI layer. Vision Cloud has dual stereo cameras feeding a 10 TOPS AI processor. The neural network was trained on over 20 million real-world images. So when it sees a tennis ball, it knows that it's a ball and not a tree stump, and it cuts close enough and doesn't make a huge detour like it's a larger object. And when it sees something like a hedgehog or another animal like a pet, it knows to steer clear and make sure things are safe. Fun fact here, Worx was the first brand to ship a mower driven solely by AI way back in 2023, and a lot of people have decided to jump on the bandwagon since then. There's also a backup called VSLAM, the Visual Simultaneous Localization and Mapping. If the RTK signal gets blocked by trees or an overhang, VSLAM uses visual landmarks to keep the mower oriented. Even under a dense tree canopy, you don't have to worry about losing its place. It does a fantastic job in handling these corrections. Let's talk a little bit about the unboxing and setup process, and the setup was refreshingly simple. You don't have to worry about any boundary wires to bury, and if you've done that with an older mower, you know what a pain that can be, so I really appreciated seeing that. The charging station can go anywhere with Wi-Fi nearby, under a porch, against a wall, in your shed. Most RTK mowers need the base in fully open sky, and that is not the case here. The corrections come from the cloud, not hardware that is on your property. You download the Landroid app, go ahead and start the mapping process, and it will start mapping your property completely on its own. It really couldn't be any simpler. Speaking of mapping, this is where things get interesting and kind of fun, because with most robotic mowers, the mapping is where they fall short. With Vision Cloud, you set it down, kick off the auto map mode and in the app, and it goes exploring. The stereo cameras and VSLAM build a 3D picture of your yard, while RTK anchors every point with real GPS coordinates. Take a look at this map. You can see how closely those boundaries follow the actual edge of my lawn. It's almost a one-to-one match. It's honestly just beautiful. And that's the difference here. The Vision AI is actually understanding things and the objects, and the various contours of the yard, not just randomly bumping into stuff and guessing. You can also do manual mapping, drive the mower yourself from the app to define zones, or grab anything the auto map missed. The controls feel tight, and it's honestly kind of fun to steer this thing on your own. It feels like you're driving around like a little toy race car back when you were a little kid, so it definitely gives you some of those, retro, feel-good kind of vibes. Obstacle avoidance is one of the most important things when it comes to robotic mowers, but can also be a challenge for some of them. Let's take a look at the obstacle course I set up here, and I tried to present a real challenge here for the Vision Cloud. I placed a tennis ball, football, and my kid's tricycle along the mowing path. The green objects are the hardest test for Vision AI because they blend in with the grass. You can see here what happens, adjust its path, gets close enough to still cut around it with precision, not a wide detour, just a smooth, smart reroute, and it also does the same with the other objects. That's the difference between basic obstacle avoidance and the AI actually looking at what is there, recognizing it, and then computing the optimal path. Now let's take a look at the moving obstacle test. I rolled a ball across the path as it was mowing. Just watch here what happens. It slowed, kept the distance, then continued once the path was safe. Same behavior it uses around pets and kids, smart enough to know the difference between something living that needs space and an object that is something that it can cut tighter around, like we saw earlier in the original obstacle course. This is absolutely fantastic, and if you have a family with pets and kids, this makes a huge difference to know that they're going to be safe if it's out there doing its job mowing the yard. Another feature I was really curious about when I was looking at the spec sheet before I got my unit in is what Worx calls cut to zero. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. This is a hardware difference here, not just software, which is what some people talk about when they're talking about cutting to zero. They just mean software, but not here. Most robot mowers have centrally mounted blades. There's always a gap between where the body ends and the blades can reach, so you're left with a strip of uncut grass at the edges of your yard. Some mowers leave up to 8 inches of fringe that you still have to trim by hand, which is incredibly annoying. The Vision Cloud adds an offset blade, the Cut to Zero module, which is mounted on the side. Combined with the Vision AI inside guiding it, this Cut to Zero module allows you to get right up against the edges to get a very clean look, and you don't have to do any manual trimming. You get perfectionist edges without any additional work. It can also cross over boundaries like garden pavers with ease because it knows that those are flat stones and not obstacles that it needs to avoid like a ball or a kid's toy. And that's really the difference here. The neural network is reacting to these objects and, like I said, processing the differences in real time and not just making an educated guess like software on some other bots. Now, let's talk about the four-wheel drive aspect. If your yard is flat, then the standard Vision Cloud has you covered, but the four-wheel drive is where it comes into play if you have slopes in your yard. That's going to be the unit that you really want. Same Vision AI, same RTK Cloud, but four-wheel drive and what Worx calls a terrain adaptive body. The front and rear axles here are independent, so when a wheel drops into a dip or climbs a bump, the chassis on this unit flexes to keep all four wheels on the ground. This thing can handle up to a 40-degree slope. That's an 84% grade. Honestly, that's a lot steeper than most residential lawns if we're being honest. But what matters to most homeowners is how it can handle wet grass and uneven terrain in addition to these slopes. And let's talk a little bit about this because this is very important. This is what makes it genuinely different than other all-wheel drive mowers that are on the market. Worx uses active front steering like a real car. Other all-wheel drive mowers pivot by spinning wheels at different speeds, which drags the tires across the grass and can tear up your turf, which gives you a very messy look. Vision Cloud uses four-wheel drive and uses a servo steering system. You get smooth turns so that your lawn always stays intact. You're not going to get any messy turf tearing or scattered all over your lawn. The Landroid app is also fantastic and handles everything. Mowing settings, scheduling, zones, you can set up everything in here. Clean and reasonably intuitive in my experience with minimal learning curve. And also you have several security features on offer, which is important because robot mowers are expensive and they sit outside. Vision Cloud has a 3-layer anti-theft system, an alarm that you can trigger if someone picks it up, GPS tracking that lets you find it on a map, and you can lock it remotely so even if someone steals it, they can't use it. All of these are huge peace of mind features because this is a very expensive piece of equipment that's probably going to be sitting out on your lawn and you don't want to have to worry about this getting taken and not having any recourse. Also, another amazing convenience feature is that Worx has swappable batteries across their entire ecosystem of tools, over 200 different devices that run on this PowerShare battery ecosystem. So you can just take your battery out of your mower, put it into a trimmer or some other Worx tool, and all of it works beautifully. So if you're already in the Worx ecosystem, that's a huge value add to going with the Vision Cloud mower. So wrapping up, where does this mower fit into my everyday lawn care routine? Well, I will say that Worx put their engineering and thought into the right areas and real pain points that people have with robotic mowers. You've got wire-free setup that actually works without an antenna on your roof, AI that knows the difference between a dog and a hose, edge cutting that actually cuts to the edge, and for yards that have large hills or slopes, you've got the four-wheel drive system that handles those slopes that I wouldn't even attempt to push myself with a push mower. The Vision Cloud lineup starts with models for 1/4 acre and goes up to models that handle up to 1.5 acres with the Vision Cloud four-wheel drive that I've shown you guys in this video. Links are in the description with the full pricing, any relevant discount codes, and also information on how to find the right size for your lawn. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. I've been using this now for a while. Happy to answer any questions about setup, the app, the various features, how well it cuts, if it's the right fit for you. Huge shout out to Worx for sending out the Landroid Vision Cloud four-wheel drive. It's absolutely a joy to use in our yard. I appreciate them sponsoring the video. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.